Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Brian, and today I'm joined by Evan and Ryan. In today's episode, we'll be starting a new segment called Trade Talks, where we'll give you the edge in evaluating and improving your team to crush your weekly matchups. Here we go.
All right, welcome in everybody. This is the first official episode of Trade Talks, an Apples and Gino product, Apples and Gino's product here, and welcome on in. So we are pleased to announce that after our PTO, we were signed to a PTO in the off season in training camp, and we are excited to announce that Evan, Brian, and I have signed max contract deal, breaking the record for AAV, I believe, which is confidential. Yes, congrats to us. So we're sticking around. We're going to be doing a weekly show in season called Trade Talks every Wednesday night, and it will be streamed live. So I hope you can join us. We'll be centering things around trades, fantasy hockey trades, really giving you the edge to be the winner in your fantasy hockey trades. We'll be asking you to send in any trades that you have, any offers you might have in the Discord. So if you are not in the Discord, get on in there, and we'll be asking you to submit your mailbag trades, usually around Sunday or Monday, and we'll be bringing that up on these Wednesday nights. We'll be giving it trade grades, and we have plenty of other ideas for segments and fun stuff. So hope you're excited. Boys, are you excited for our new show?
So fired up, boys. A sigh of relief after signing those massive AAV contracts. So we're really excited here. All the sweat, blood, and tears we put into it, really great.
Yeah, we got to live up to it, man. We got to live up to the hype. Very excited, boys. I loved mock drafting with both of you, but after about probably 2,000 mock drafts, I think it's safe to say that we can move on and get into some in-season stuff here. So really pumped about it.
Yeah. This guy, Gomer Jackson, says we deserve a max contract for sure. Good deal. Thank you very much. Blake, Kaprizov deals for all. No, we got the max contract. Better than Kaprizov.
Dang. Well, we'll get right into it then. And so kind of the new start to this segment is kind of the news. There's a lot of it going around right now in training camp. Brian and I were talking off screen here about just our phones buzzing every day, all day. I feel like an insider getting all this information, trying to process it every day. But Kirill the Thrill, he signs massive deal. 8 years, 17 million AAV for 136 mil, highest in the NHL over Draisaitl. It's crazy, man. I think he deserves it, but this amount of money for one player for their team is kind of nuts. I think with the cap moving the way it is, it's kind of expected, I guess, but kudos to his agent. I don't know if you guys heard Bill Guerin in that meeting too. He better be happy, expletive. So Brian, I'll throw it to you. What do you think about the Kirill deal?
I love it. I have him in a couple of teams, so I'm happy that, he's got his deal. He can focus on hockey now. Two thoughts came to mind, I think, for me. First and foremost, the Wild obviously value this guy so much. We know that he is the engine in Minnesota, so love to see him get paid. It's I think he's now paid $3 million more AAV than the second highest guy, which is Draisaitl. So it leads me to my second thought, which is, what on earth is McDavid going to sign for? Will the Oilers be able to afford him? That's a whole other discussion, but I love it for Kaprizov. I think he's due for a big year here. He's going to prove everyone that, he made the right choice, and we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, I think this is exciting stuff. The NHL cap is supposed to go up, so I think this is the first huge domino about to fall in all these huge contracts that are gonna get signed in the next few years. McDavid coming up, so it's really exciting. And in terms of the Wild, like they for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 seasons, they had Ryan Suter and Zach Parise money tied up. They had like, I think around 17 mil tied up that came off the books either last season. It's still on the books, but I think it's like 800K now for each of them. So yeah, they're used to, you know, having 17 million tied up, but now they get to use it on really a Hart Trophy caliber player, and this is a player who really is the Wild's most valuable player for sure. And yeah, like some questions here, like McDavid, where will McDavid sign that? Yeah, it's a great question. I ain't speculating at all, but I think it's good for McDavid to wait until he's a UFA and like just decide what he wants to decide this summer.
Yeah, no, it's crazy stuff. I think the McDavid thing is just, we don't know where that's going to go, but it definitely, this sets the precedent for these high level players. I mean, to me, Kaprizov is easily a top 5, if not top 7 player in the entire NHL and in the world. So he deserves it. Not saying he doesn't. It's just shocking the amount of money, but you want to see hockey players getting paid this. Obviously we've seen like deals in baseball, the NBA is so much more money. So it's good to see our boys getting paid. But sticking with the theme in Minnesota, some news, the Zucchini Man, he's out. Unfortunately, I had him in a few spots in my drafts. You know, he's still looking to be a big part of that team, top line, top power play. It came out that he's expected to miss 7 to 8 weeks to start the season due to a lower body injury. And the fantasy implications of this is Marco Rossi. I don't know that I'm running out to draft him in any spots, but he has been projected and skating in training camp with top line and top power play, which is very exciting stuff. We know what he can do. I think he easily could be a 65-plus point player in that spot. And if he gets top power play, it's even more. Ryan, I'll go to you first. What are your thoughts on kind of Marco Rossi with Zucchini Man out?
Yeah, I think even without Zucchini Man out, you know, like he seemed to be on that spot like from day one of training camp, and I really like it for him. I had him projected just for 13 power play points, so that's gonna be adjusted in my next version. He was coming out to 52 points, so I think I might get him up to 60 points, and I really like that for Marco Rossi, you know, late in drafts. And yeah, some power play scrimmages and practices came out, and even yeah, Rossi's on that first power play unit, and even Vlad Tarasenko's on that first unit with Zeev William. So this Minnesota power play could be killer, and whoever is there alongside Kaprizov and Boldy and Eriksson Ek will be reaping the benefits.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we saw it last year with Rossi and Kaprizov playing together for a lot of it. I know that a lot of that was also because Joel Eriksson Ek was out for a while. So it's interesting to see them already paired up together with, you know, Jeek still in the lineup. I think that bodes well for his point upside. But if you're in a categories league, like Evan said, I wouldn't be necessarily drafting Rossi, but definitely someone to keep on your radar. If the Wild have a good schedule coming, you know, you're going to get some points if he has that exposure to Kaprizov. So I like it. Yeah. And that's my thought.
Yeah. There. A little bit of a correction here on that top power play in the latest preseason game. It actually, Rossi was on power play 2. It was Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, Boldy, and Tarasenko and William. So yeah, we're not overreacting to anything in preseason as of yet. We'll see what happens in the season.
Yeah, I think they were kind of both switching, both in practice and then in the game with Tarasenko in that spot. I think Tarasenko's unfortunately past his prime. I think to me, it would be smart to have Rossi there, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. This is kind of the biggest talk, obviously, in the past few weeks here. Sasha Barkov out for the year. Torn ACL, terrible, horrendous. See the video. He's just kind of skating and then tries to make a turn, goes down, gets carried off the ice, and the worst happens. So feel really bad for him. I mean, it's kind of like everyone else, like you go through the internet and it's like, oh, Florida's done now. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. But what this means for fantasy is, what do we do with Sam Bennett and Anton Lundell? Since this came out, I've seen a ton of people drafting Sam Bennett higher, and then even more even on Anton Lundell in sharper leagues. The question kind of remains right now, like, how is Florida's power play going to shake out? In more recent iterations, they've had Sam Bennett on the top line with Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart. And then on the second line, they've been going with Luosterainen. Let's see here. It was Luosterainen, Anton Lundell, and Brad Marchand, which was the line that killed it in the playoffs too. So I think realistically, I still really like Sam Bennett. But for me, the target here is Anton Lundell. And the reason is because of his ADP. He wasn't being drafted in a lot of leagues prior to this Barkov injury. Now he got the nickname, Baby Barkov last year. Last year, he put up 5 goals, 10 points, 4 on the power play with average time on ice 20, 11, and 8 games with Barkov out. I think he fits perfect in that system, and he fits perfect up there. So if you can look at grabbing Anton Lundell late in your draft, see where he shakes out in the lineup, but I think he could be extremely valuable moving into the season. Brian, are you looking at Anton Lundell in any spots?
No, but that's also just because I missed the boat. So I actually drafted Barkov in one of my leagues, so this was like a knife to the heart. So that one hurt, and it turned out that in that same draft, Lundell and Bennett were already drafted. So that one hurts. For me personally, I like Lundell. He gets that comparison to Baby Barkov, which is obviously great. That bodes well to him, but I just think there's other guys with more value. I think he does get a slight bump in his projections, whereas someone like Reinhart, value goes down a little bit here. I'm kind of just on the fence with Lundell. I would be willing to take a swing on him, but it's not something I'm going to be like freaking out over.
Yeah, I'm on Team Brian here. I actually did draft Anton Lundell with my last pick in a draft in a keeper league with Nate, Blake, and Evan, and I did that just because Florida plays on the first night of hockey, so I just wanted that extra game. But yeah, like I think Lundell has great waiver wire pickup appeal, or maybe trade appeal as a buy low into the season. I think he would work very well on that top line with Reinhart and Verhaeghe as a Barkov replacement. But the way they have it right now is they're keeping that elite third line in the playoffs together of Luosterainen and Lundell and Marchand, and they just crushed it in the playoffs last year. And that was going to be, their third line this season, but I guess now it's their second line. I do think Lundell eventually will get a shot with Reinhart and Verhaeghe. But yeah, this Barkov news for me, I think right away, it really helps Carter Verhaeghe because with Matthew Tkachuk out as well. Like Carter Verhaeghe was off the top power play unit a lot of times last season. And that's been like the big question is Carter Verhaeghe, is he a top power play guy all season? And at least for the first half of the season, I think it's pretty guaranteed that Carter Verhaeghe is on that top power play with Sam Reinhart. And now with, and Seth Jones. And now it's like a question of, okay, how good is this power play? But either way, I think Carter Verhaeghe, he'll get a lot more power play minutes. And I think it bodes well for him.
Yeah, totally agree. It's really weird what they're doing with the top power play in training camp here. It's all over the place. They've got Ekblad up there. Seth Jones is on PP2, which just skewers me in a lot of spots. I don't know why they would do that, but that's the way it's happening right now. It's very subject to change. I agree with you, Ryan. I think Anton Lundell is the better fit ultimately on that top line. And I love Sam Bennett, but he does have a bit of an injury history. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses some time during the regular season as well. And if Lundell gets into that top spot, he's proven that he can do stuff with it. So I think late in your drafts, last few rounds, you take a flyer on him. I think you'll be pretty happy with it. Moving on to Luke Hughes, also signed 7x9 mil extension. To me, this just shows and confirms that New Jersey's invested in their future. They got their guy. Dougie Hamilton's going to be riding the pine off of Power Play 1. Confirmed? No. But I have Luke Hughes in a lot of spots, and I just feel like this is the year that he's going to get more run there. At least I'm really hoping for it, and I think we all are because we know what he can do. And I think if he gets that PP1 spot, he's going to take it and run with it. He's a better facilitator, and I think he's going to be there for longer than Dougie. So it's interesting drafting kind of both of those guys, but I just feel like the ceiling for Luke Hughes is there. And I don't think they're going to invest this kind of money in him and just kind of slowly tread him along. I think they're going to be looking to move off Dougie if they can. Brian, your thoughts on Luke Hughes?
Yeah, I mean, I got Luke Hughes in a couple spots, and I'm really happy to see that he signed. I still think Dougie Hamilton will be PP1 at least for, it's tough to say, at least until November. I mean, Luke Hughes is going to get some shots up there, of course. I wonder how much influence Jack had on that or on the power play makeup. But yeah, we've talked about Luke Hughes, smooth skating defenseman, very talented offensively, and more importantly, very talented for our offense or for our fantasy lineups. So we're very happy with that. I guess I'll throw a question over to Ryan here. When do you think Luke Hughes takes over power play 1?
Oh, here's a spicy take. I think game 1 of the regular season,
Really?
and even before that into a preseason game if he gets in one. So yeah, I'm in on Luke Hughes. He just signed this huge contract, the same as the Eggman. Same contract as the Eggman.
Same value.
Got to get the plug-in on the Eggman.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, very different player than the Eggman. I don't think Luke Hughes will be used in the same way that Darnell Nurse is used. And Luke Hughes has a head of hair, so there's that. But yeah, I like Luke Hughes to really start on the power play, and I'm a little scared drafting Dougie Hamilton this year.
Yeah, I think I just keep thinking about it. It's like, it's been noted like by both Quinn and Jack, like when they ask who like the best, like out of the 3 brothers are, like they've said before that they feel like Luke is the most talented, and we haven't really seen it because he hasn't gotten the opportunity. That family's nuts. So you got to just look at the talent that's there. Luke wants to play with his brother. Let him do it. Jack will get 100 points. Luke will get 70 plus points, and then we're all winning. So moving on again here, a good 0G option as we get the news today. Connor Ingram to the Oilers for future considerations. What a trade it was. I'm looking at this and it spikes my interest. I think that Connor Ingram kind of proved, in Arizona 2 years ago that he could do something. Kind of came out of nowhere. I thought that year, your boy Carroll, Ryan, was going to be a sneaky 0G option, but then they kind of went to Ingram because he was the hot hand. In the 2023-24 season, he had 50 games played with 23 wins, 907 save percentage, 2.91 goals against, and 6 shutouts. Count them, 6 on Arizona at the time as well. Is he going to take the job right from Skinner? No, I don't think so. But I do think that if Stu Skinner's flopping around, letting in 4 goals, blowing leads left and right like he did, last year, I don't think they have a choice. Like if Connor Ingram gets in there and he starts putting up good numbers, then I think they ride with it. And I really think that he could do something there for Edmonton. Ryan, I'll go to you first. Is there any value here? 0G, maybe just keeping an eye on him to start?
Yeah, I think for sure. A 0G candidate for sure. He will start probably in the AHL with the Condors. But yeah, I'll be monitoring how he does down there, and if he does really well down there and the Oilers get the goaltending that they are used to getting the last few years, then he could definitely get a call up. It's making all my Stuart Skinner shares with the last round picks a little scared, but yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on him. I think it's a pretty interesting move, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, one thing the Oilers have made pretty apparent, they've been pretty vocal about, is that they do need a goalie. So, they didn't take a big swing by any means. Like they were able to get him off waivers. They traded for him, right? Yeah, they did.
They traded, those future considerations.
Sorry, I misspoke. they did trade for him.
The bag of pups.
Yeah, they did trade for him. But what's nice is that we know what he's capable of. We know what the limitations are with Stuart Skinner. So I think it's not a matter of if, but when they're going to give him a shot in net. I don't know if you've seen some of Stuart Skinner's recent clips, but he's still swimming around in that net. And I'm sitting there scratching my head like, dude, just face the puck. So I think, Ingram will come in, take over, and then maybe not take over that, maybe a split, but we'll see. I think definitely watch him in the minors, see how he does. And then if he's performing, gets called up, I would snag him for sure.
Yeah, I think he has this track history of like being a hot hand goalie, right? So if he gets the call up and then gets into the net, like those are the kind of guys like mid-season goalie wise you want to leave a roster spot open for, pick up, ride the hot hand goalie. I feel like a lot of people do that in fantasy and it works really well. Moving on to some injury updates. There's been quite a few, but these are kind of two of the major ones outside of Barkov. Vazzy was out. We didn't really know exactly what was going on. Some said personal leave, others said injury. The good news is he was skating at practice today. So he's working towards a return per John Cooper. So very happy about that. I have him in a spot, and Ryan, I know you have him in a spot. So happy about Vasilevsky. He's the workhorse goalie. He's the number 2 goalie in the league. So I think he'll be back and ready for the Tampa Bay Lightning, hopefully. And then scary situation, another video popped up in practice with JT Miller going down. Again, it looked like another like non-contact thing, and he kind of stayed down for a little while. It was scary. But as of right now, it's considered day-to-day with lower body injury per Sullivan. So we'll see. Hopefully nothing major to come out of that, no long-term stuff, because JT Miller is going to be a big part of this team, newly being named captain. And I think really like it's dependent on him for that power play and that other line too. Brian, your thoughts on JT Miller?
Yeah, maybe go to me second, because I'm going to lead that into the next segue, talking about our trade targets here.
Ryan, anything to comment on injuries?
No, I don't think there's much to read into anything until we have really secure outs for games in the regular season. So I'm not worried about either of these players.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll give Nate and Blake the quick plug here for this fantasy 2025-26 draft guide. Really good stuff. I've read through quite a bit of it. Really good articles too, talking about strategies to how to draft and draft efficiently with all the player projections. So get over to Patreon, get your support out there for them. Get this fantasy hockey guide. Money well spent. Mm-hmm. And then this is kind of the segment where we want you guys, the listeners, to throw in some of your trades, for the future. We want you to submit your trades via Discord, and then we'll kind of go over them, if it's good value or not, and then we'll be breaking them down into trade grades as well. But because we don't have any mailbag questions this week, we're going to do some potential trade targets that we've each highlighted. Players that you can look at to get maybe even in the first few weeks of the season, because we think they'll bring you really good value, and then how to kind of get into that, presenting it to a league mate. And so, Brian, now again, I'm going to throw you to JT Miller.
Yeah, ask me about JT Miller again real quick. Yeah. No, so I'm going to talk about 2 players, starting with JT Miller. And I want to come from it from a perspective of both points category leagues. I think they're both valuable in both of them. The way I look at JT Miller, I would try to target him right now because he just got hurt. That could scare a lot of managers. They don't want to start the season off with injuries. They could look at recency bias with other players, and they just want to wipe their hands clean of that. If that is the case, if someone is so foolish to think so, snag him. JT Miller is a point per game player, definitely has the potential for more. It does depend on a couple things like efficiency, line makeup, power play time, the whole 9 yards. But he does it all. He really does. He gets you points. He'll hit. He shoots a little bit. It looks really nice. But even beyond that, even beyond the player, I'm pretty much all in on the New York guys, because the Rangers, as you might know already, they got 34 off-night games. They got a great playoff schedule with the most off nights during the playoffs. So that in itself is very valuable, because if you come across a random Saturday and the Rangers might play Sunday and don't play Sunday, that frees up your roster to pick up someone anyways, so you can maximize your games played there. So that's the way I kind of see it. He bangs a lot, we know, which I talked a little bit already. But the other thing I wanted to talk about here is maybe guys you could get rid of to trade for JT Miller. So me personally, you guys can rip on my strategy here, but this is in less sharper leagues, what I always try to do first. maybe not first, but I'll play it out, is try to do a 2-for-1. So get rid of 2 players for Miller for the 1 player. It frees up my roster space for a streamer, whatever that is. I'd definitely be willing to get rid of a goalie if I've drafted 2, if someone needs one. I usually don't draft 2 goalies, but if I do, I have it, I'd get rid of them. Totally fine with that. And I guess I'll pause there. What are your thoughts on that strategy? Evan, would you fall for that if I gave you 2 for 1?
Probably not. No, that's the smarter way to go about trades is normally a 2-for-1, freeing up the roster spot. You always typically want to be trading for the better player overall. So if you're giving up kind of 2 mid-round guys for like, a second, third rounder guy, that's what you want to do. Realistically in most of the spots, unless it fits for your roster with an injury or something like that. But yeah, I totally agree with that strategy. Really do like JT Miller. And I feel like, for his value in various formats, he's right wing eligible as well, not just center. So that dual eligibility really helps his case. And like you said, he's going to be the motor for the Rangers along with Panarin. And I think he's really going to be the glue guy in that power play now and provide a lot of value. Ryan, how about you? You going to make a 1-for-2 trade with me, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah. Like I think in general, you should give away 2 players and get the better player. It definitely depends on your league depth and settings, but you're always basically losing if you're giving up a second player. I mean, if you're giving up just 1 player and you're getting 2, you're losing that replacement level player. So if it's like a JT Miller for Brian, did you have a trade in mind for JT Miller for 2 guys?
Yeah, I did. I actually looked at something that just be more so in a points league, more of a fair trade. I'm always obviously looking to win the trade, but if I'm looking to trade to get JT Miller, I could see a JT Miller for Gensel kind of trade that could go through. I think what I also did a 2-for-1 might be too much to give up now, but JT Miller, you get him and you give up Verhaeghe and Wilson. I don't know your thoughts on that, but that was an idea I had too. What are your thoughts on those?
So like Verhaeghe and Wilson for JT Miller. Just my thought goes right away. If I have JT Miller, you give me Verhaeghe and Wilson. Well, now I need to drop someone. So now I'm giving up that player that I'm dropping and JT Miller, and I'm getting Verhaeghe and Wilson. So that needs to be taken into account in any trade. And for you, you're now getting the benefit of you gave up Verhaeghe and Wilson, you get JT Miller, and now maybe there was a guy on waivers who you're like, oh, this guy should not be on waivers. I need him on my team. So now you have that benefit. So there's always that benefit of giving away 2 players to get 1. I do think it's harder to pull off, but maybe you guys have experience pulling that off.
I do. And here's the way I'd go about it though, is you really got to do your homework. You got to look at the player. If someone else has JT Miller, you really got to look at their team. Where are they lacking? You can average out what they do well on their team and then try to have something that's going to fill in that gap there. So you can position it like, hey, you're going to make up in this. You're going to lose the better player. What are your thoughts? Let's talk. Step into my office. And then, you take them to dinner, you show them the whole 9 yards, you soften them up a bit, and then you take JT Miller from them.
Yeah. I love that.
I'll be taken to dinner. Sure.
Oh, boy. All right. We're going to move on to Timo Meier here. Another player you brought to the table, Brian.
Yeah, Timo time. Timo time might actually be now. It looks like, fingers crossed, but it looks like he'll finally get PP1. Which we love to see. New Jersey's had some injuries. All of their Stephen Nason is out for a while, which for whatever reason, actually he did do pretty well on the power play, but Sheldon Keefe loved Nason over Timo. So I'm liking Timo. We saw what he did in San Jose a couple years ago, but really what I'm looking at again is New Jersey has a great off night schedule as well. 32 off nights. They got a decent playoff schedule. But where the value of Timo Meier comes into play is typically you'll get him later in the draft, but he'll put up 250 shots, more than 120 hits. That is awesome. He could his average ice time could go up if he does get the exposure to more power play time. And I am more than willing to take a chance, especially with the injuries that typically are on the power play in New Jersey. And then when you look at it from a Cats League standpoint, very valuable. He's right up there, almost valuable, not quite as valuable, maybe right up there with like a Vinny Trocheck and on the Rangers, because he hits, he shoots, he'll get you points, power play points. Those are all really valuable. Those all will all play. So one of the trade ideas that I would have, again, would be Meyer for Verhaeghe, a 1-for-1. Someone could be banking on Verhaeghe's upside, could be looking to get away from Timo, thinking he won't get on the power play. Again, same thing. You can run up different scenarios, but that would be my first thought that I'd be willing to kind of part with. What are your thoughts on that?
Ryan,
yeah, I should have said one of you. Let's go to Evan first. Evan.
I like Timo Meyer. I think he this year especially is sliding in drafts. Like I feel like a lot of people last year were taking him pretty high, like 4th, 5th round. He's falling this year because of that, unsecure power play role. But I think his value really lies in, I think Ryan's touched on this before, his shot and hit volume. And he's going to still get like 50 plus points, even without power play one. So he's extremely valuable. They do have a great playoff schedule relative to some of these other teams. So yeah, I think, you could easily sell, a league mate on why Timo Meyer should be trade bait for them. And that's the thing is like, if you have a pulse on your league mates and who they may like on your team, and you're looking at a spot like maybe you can sell them off of Timo Meyer. You could explain why you think it'd be a good deal for them. It depends on who your league mate is and their trust level on you. They might know that you're trying to fleece them, Brian, if you've been doing those 2-for-1s. But if you know how to present the deal, Timo's definitely a good trade target. Ryan, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I love it. I love Timo as a trade target, and these 1-for-1 ideas I think are a lot easier to do preseason, because if I don't know, it's like, let's say you have your draft, you go look at the draft results and you just find a player that got taken after your player that you want to give up, and you'd be like, actually, my thoughts have changed a little bit and I would prefer this player. If they're pretty close, go to the manager and say, hey, I drafted this guy before you. Let's do a 1-for-1. And I think that's where a lot of 1-for-1s are doable preseason, if you're not going to get that 2-for-1 down. And yeah, I would take Timo Meyer over Carter Verhaeghe right now. Just that potential for power play one would skyrocket his ceiling, and he has that safe floor without it.
Yeah. And I'll also add one more comment. I think it is generally a good idea to make those trades before the regular season starts, if there's someone specific you want to catch, because we know preseason, everything is up in the air. Everyone's trying out different positions, whatever it may be. But I think back to a trade I won a couple years ago. I got Erik Karlsson when he had that 100-point season. I gave up Darnell Nurse and Patrice Bergeron. Oh, no. I gave up Bergeron and Darnell Nurse for Malkin and Karlsson. I ended up dropping Malkin. But, that just stacks your blue line, because people think, okay, he has an injury history. San Jose sucks. They're not going to do anything. If you're big on the player, go in before the regular season starts, because that's when the points actually count.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Really good stuff from some elite managers here. We're going to pat ourselves on the back. Ryan, you brought some players to the table as well. Talk to us about Thomas Harley.
Yes. So my trade targets, Thomas Harley. We have Heiskanen. We have a Heiskanen sighting on the top power play. In practice and in a preseason game, he was on that top power play unit with Johnston, Robertson, Hintz, and Rantanen. And Harley was stuck on. Oh, I spelled his name wrong. Harley was stuck on power play 2. Only if you're watching on the YouTube, you'll see Harley without an E there. He was on power play 2 there. So what do we take from this? Well, all off season, all of us have been so excited about Thomas Harley. He should be on power play 1, and this could be a 60-point defenseman if all goes right. He has the skills, he has the tool set, the offensive ability, the microstats show out, and we all really like Harley. But now he's stuck on power play 2, and maybe Greg Gulletson gives power play 1 a lot more time. So managers are freaking out, especially in sharper leagues who were really counting on Harley to be on power play 1 and who knew about Harley to begin with. Well, this is where I am going to come in and have Thomas Harley as my trade target and ask all these managers who are freaking out to trade me him, because he will get on power play 1. Book it. It's concrete. It's a lock. He will be on power play 1. Just looking at some stats last year, Dallas's power play with Thomas Harley on the ice compared to Miro Heiskanen on the ice. Dallas had more expected goals for, Dallas had more scoring chances for, more shots for, and a whole bunch more goals for. So all those other stats were pretty close, but they actually scored at a much better rate with Harley on the ice rather than Heiskanen. They had 10 goals for per 60 with Harley on the ice and only 5.69 goals for per 60 with Heiskanen on the ice. So it worked last year. Dallas's power play as a whole was, mid in the league, but I think Harley is the better option there. And then if you do look at that preseason game, I believe last night, so they did have Heiskanen on that top power play unit. Well, they didn't score. So 0 for 1, 0% on the power play. And looking deeper on that 55 seconds of the top power play, Heiskanen had the only shot on goal. So they were, I guess, choosing to have Heiskanen take the shot at the point. And if you're going to have a shot from the point, you want Thomas Harley to do it. So that's my call. I'm saying Thomas Harley will be on power play 1 very shortly, if not the start of the season. So I'm going to go after any team that has Thomas Harley right now and see what I can get for him.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, honestly, as like a trade target, because it's like you said, Ryan, managers are going to freak out when they hear this information. They're going to want to panic sell him. They'll probably sell him, honestly, for a few rounds later than what they drafted him at because of this. So really good to get in and buy on Thomas Harley before he explodes and getting on the top power play. Brian, any comments on that?
Yeah, I'm all aboard the Harley train. Personally, I wouldn't freak out over Harley, but it's because I have the inside scoop. I got the crystal ball. It's around here somewhere. But yeah, if someone is worried, again, it goes to show you why you should be making trades before the regular season starts. Because if people are seeing that news, they could be freaking out. Jump on it as fast as you can. I think we're all in agreement. Thomas Harley is going to be a stud. Power play 1. I mean, Ryan's already booked it. Everyone book it. Thomas Harley, power play 1.
And if he doesn't get there and Heiskanen remains and has like a career year, you guys know who to come after. Hit him up, DM him.
Yeah, Gary Bettman for cheating. It would have to be. It's not us.
Or like the Finnish prime minister maybe has to say. Who knows?
All right, moving on to Ryan's next player, Jacob Chychrun.
Yeah, so similar archetype here. I really like defenders who can score goals. So we had Thomas Harley, who scored 15 goals and 16 goals in the past 2 seasons, who has potential to put up a 20-goal season. Well, Jacob Chychrun put up a 20-goal season last year. And so here is another similar situation. We had John Carlson back on the top power play in Washington, and Jacob Chychrun was on power play 2. So are we freaking out? Are we freaking out if we have Jacob Chychrun? No, we are not freaking out. Maybe some managers are freaking out and will trade him to me. So I will take that, because even without the top power play, he was able to score 20 goals last season on power play 2 for most of the season. In the second half, they did try a 2 defenseman power play, and it did run pretty well. So I think they'll go back to that. If not, Chychrun actually supplanting Carlson on that top unit. I just love the talent and the potential here for Chychrun as a goal-scoring defenseman, and I will buy low here while he's on power play 2. It's not so low because we're still in the preseason, but I think if he starts the season on power play 2, you can get a real buy low opportunity here. And even without power play 2, he'll still put up at least 40 points pace with getting plenty of shots, plenty of goals. So I love that from a defenseman. Just love Jacob Chychrun. And if you ever listen to Ovechkin. The bands make a dance. The bands make a dance.
Buns make good dance.
He's not
Buns
doing that with
make good
John
dance.
Carlson, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, John Carlson is
Dance
not
don't
as
dance.
fun, that's for sure. And Ovi, we all know Ovi just wants to have fun right now, so he'll have more fun with Jacob Chikrin.
Yeah, Chikrin's the more exciting option, and like you said, his goal scoring, Ryan. Like on Washington, like outside of Ovechkin taking that shot, who is the shot threat? Like I watched so many times Jacob Chikrin last year just walking it in and like wristing it, just bar down. Great shot. I mean, Dylan Strome's not a shooter. Pierre-Luc Dubois is not like an elite level shooter. So I think Chikrin on that power play makes the most sense if they actually want to score. So that'd be good stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on to sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
No, I was just gonna say. Sorry, I got one more thing here. Last season, Washington was super efficient, so they didn't have as many shots on goal, but they had tons of goals, high shooting percentage. If that starts to regress a bit, I think they just send Chikrin out there on the top unit, be like blast away, try to get the puck in the net, and send it to the net. Let's pick up rebounds, and I think Chikrin would be a good option for that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, moving on to my two players, Nikolai Ehlers. I think he's kind of being undersold a little bit. I know that Nathan Blake and then we have been high on him, but I don't think everyone in fantasy is. I don't think, his ADP on Yahoo is 83 and on Fantrax 86. I think that's a bit high for him. I really do. I think that this could be the year that he gets to 30 goals, 70 plus points. He's going to be playing along Aho and Jarvis. It's kind of one of those things where we kind of always think that Rob and the Carolina Hurricanes are going to mix up their lines, which they still might. But I think this top power play is locked in, and Nikolai Ehlers is going to be a part of it. He's never played with this elite level talent, on that line. Like when he was in Winnipeg, he was playing with Vlad Nemestikov and Cole Perfetti. Good players, not great players. So I think that, Ehlers drives enough of his own offense, but now we're talking about Aho and Jarvis. I think he really can do a lot here. And Carolina does have a pretty good playoff schedule, similar to New Jersey, like you were talking about for Team O'Brien. They have 11 games played and then 4 in the last round of your playoffs if you're in a 12-man league, 1 week per. I think, again, similar like ADP range, like people drafting like a Travis Konechny, people drafting like a Jordan Kyrou, someone like that 1-for-1. I'd be much more excited about a Nick Ehlers. Even like Lucas Raymond, like, I know, blasphemy against my Detroit Red Wings. I can't say it, but dual eligible on a really good team, really good situation. Brian, I'll throw it to you. Is this somebody that you'd be looking to trade for?
Short answer, yes. I would be looking to trade for him because, again, we talk about the trades that you want to get. You want to get back the better player. That kind of applies to the lineups in hockey as well. When you have a player exposed to the better player between the two teams, like he's going to perform well. When Ehlers was on Winnipeg, you already spoke to who his line mates were. They're not even being drafted, whereas in Carolina, he's going to probably be on a line with Aho. Excellent player. I think that's going to bode well for him. That'll help increase his numbers. Who knows what the deployment's going to be like with Rod Brind'Amour. But if he does get good ice time, I'm imagining it'll be better than it was in Winnipeg, and he's got exposure to a better player. I'm all in on that. I would love to pick me up some Nikolai Ehlers.
Ryan, I'm on board with both of you. I'm tempering expectations a tiny bit, but I think your projection you have there of 30 goals, 70, around 70 points, I think like that's a realistic expectation that he would be more valuable than that 7th round where he's being drafted. And yeah, like we're used to Nick Ehlers not getting great deployment and playing with terrible players. And I think that's a big reason why his IPP has been so high, because he's done everything for the line he plays on. So I think his IPP would go down a little bit playing with these better players. But yeah, his chances will go up, and his power play time will go up. Although Brind'Amour does tend to take his top unit off after like a minute 10 seconds or around there. You have the top players on Carolina. Aho had a 70 power play time on ice percentage. Jarvis 68, Costas Bear 68. So it's not like the 75 to 80 like we see in like Colorado or Tampa Bay, but he'll be in a great opportunity, and I like it. And I love it in the 7th round, and if someone drafted him in the 7th round and you're offering some value that is just a 7th round pick, like go for it, make that trade.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, the way I'd be selling it to people is the same thing we just talked about, right? Like I'd be saying, oh, you really want Nikolai Ehlers? Like, you know, he hasn't done this before. He's on Carolina. They shuffle their lines, right? Or maybe like a few games into the season, you know, he ends up on the second line or something because, you know, that's just what they do. Again, more opportunity to just kind of jump in on a trade and, you know, hassle one of your league mates. Get him off your team. Let me take him off your hands for you. Let me do you a favor.
I'm doing you the favor, right? Yeah.
On to my next player, Charlie McAvoy. This one kind of like gives me a little uneasy feeling in my stomach. I had Charlie McAvoy, not this past year, but the year before, and I said I would never draft him this high again. However, he has fallen so much in drafts this year. And I think people forget, like, he's a number 1 defenseman. Like his ADP 88 on Fantrax, 98 on Yahoo. That's insane stuff for a line 1 power play 1 defenseman with really good peripherals. I mean, we look at some of his past seasons when he actually was like relatively healthy. 2021-22 and 22-23, he had over 50 points, and then the 100-point club for everything: 100 shots, 100 hits, 100 blocks, sometimes getting to 150 in some of those. Boston as a team, I think, again, is being overlooked, similar to like Pittsburgh. Like they're on the down, you know, they lost Marchand. So I feel like he's being overlooked. You know, he may be drafted higher than his ADP in some spots, but I think he could be an easy talk to, you know, give some shiny wingers that maybe, again, don't have the similar value as a line 1 power play 1 defenseman, get him as your 3rd defenseman. I think you'd be laughing. I think he's going to return the value this year. If he can stay healthy, I think it'll do wonders for your team. Ryan, where are you at on Chucky McAvoy this year?
Yeah, I'll trade him to you if you want.
Okay.
I think his periffs have gone down in the past 2 seasons, and like it might be due to injury. Maybe he's a little shyer at laying the body on people and blocking shots as he used to be. He used to be such a periff monster. But yeah, on the power play, it's hard to know what he's going to do on the power play because the last 2 seasons he hasn't been a great option on that top power play. And honestly, Mason Lohrei was like a better option last year for Boston on the top power play, and I think it's a possibility that Mason Lohrei supplants McAvoy on that top power play. So I will trade him to you.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm always all ears. I just think Mason Lohrei, I mean, power play makes sense. He's a complete liability defensively. But I don't know. I think they just like Charlie McAvoy on the power play. I do agree with you that Mason Lohrei could have a higher offensive ceiling, so it makes sense to put him there with the efficiency.
Yeah, no, I would still take McAvoy over Lohrei. It's just like because Lohrei doesn't do much else, and even if he gets the top power play, 40 points might be his ceiling. So really not really worth drafting, but I think it just limits. It makes McAvoy more of a risky pick early in the season, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Brian, where do you fall on this?
Evan, that didn't go the way you thought it was going to go. No, the way I see it, Charlie McAvoy to me is kind of like on the outskirts of someone that I would be happy to have on my team, but I'm not going to reach for him in a draft just because of what Ryan says. Like Lohrei is good on the power play. McAvoy might be a little more shy over the past couple of years because he doesn't want to hurt himself. But the way I see it is when you're drafting, you know, it's important you're looking at the value over replacement when you're looking at defense. And so if you don't get the right amount of defenseman you want, then I'd go out and look for a trade for him. If you have a surplus of, I don't know, left wingers, right wingers, centers, whatever it is, and you're willing to part with them and your team's not going to really take a hit, then I would absolutely go ahead and do that because like you talked about, Evan, Charlie McAvoy, he's going to give you 100 plus shots, 100 plus hits, 100 plus blocks, has the chance to put up some good points as well. That's pretty valuable. So not as someone I'm necessarily going to draft, but if I could get him in a trade, I'd be pretty happy with it.
Yeah. As soon as I start talking about Charlie McAvoy, this is what I'm getting just everywhere. But you know what? That's fine, because this is the whole point, is that we're going to have these disagreements, but it creates good discourse for why you'd want to and not want to trade for certain players. I think I'm more interested in McAvoy because I know I'm not going to have to give up a whole lot to get him. And I still think he has the opportunity to get 50-plus points and good periffs. He may not get there with that Boston team and his kind of production, like you kind of outlined, Ryan, with the decreasing periffs. But I think where he's being drafted, and maybe even later in some leagues, if you can get him as one of your, like, again, third, fourth defenseman, I think it could be a good option.
Yeah, my only thing with McAvoy and you having him as a trade target here is, like, in drafts, his ADP is 88 on Fantrax, 98 on Yahoo. I think that's a bit high. So anyone who has him on their team drafted him in that range as, like, maybe even their second defenseman if they waited on defenseman, or a great third option. And they have this image in their mind of Charlie McAvoy from maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So it's like, what are you giving up? But maybe you give up Miro Heiskanen now that he's on power play 1. I don't know. so
possible.
I just I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Charlie McAvoy. But maybe we'll revisit this when the season starts, and you'll prove me wrong if he's crushing it on the top power play.
That's true. We're gonna book it now. So Harley is PP1 to the moon, and Charlie McAvoy is back to his 2-3 years of old. Which one's gonna come true? And that's, continuing our rivalry, Ryan. It makes sense as we're here on Trade Talks now. So we'll see what comes to fruition. That's the beauty of getting into the regular season here.
Right.
So why don't you talk to us, Ryan, about this segment? We're going to do trade grades.
Yes. So on Sundays, Mondays-ish, in the Discord, we will be asking you guys to submit some completed trades, or maybe some offers that you're getting, or maybe some offers you want to get. But we do need tons of information to make an informed trade grade properly. But we will each be providing a grade. But we do need league size. We need league settings, league type, if it's a keeper league or not. If it is a keeper league, we need to know what draft picks mean. Is a first rounder, or do we keep 3 players each, and a first rounder is more like a fourth rounder? So we need to know all these details to provide a good trade grade. So you will submit it on Discord, and we will use as many as we can fit in our trade grade segment. So please get in here, participate, and submit your trades. Get on in the Discord, the Apples and Geno's Fantasy Hockey Discord. Lots of good stuff going on in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Constantly good stuff. Do it.
We're excited about it. We want you guys to send us your trades, trade proposals, see if we can help you make an informed decision. And if you made a trade, we can grade it. We'll get into it. Now, speaking of trades, Ryan, we are in a points league together that we call ourselves Experts League, with Nate and Blake as well, mind you. We talked about a trade. We did. Day of the draft, we were talking about who we sniped from each other, and we were both kind of looking at similar players. I did throw it to you as Marty Nikas and Pavel Dorofeyev for Roman Josi and Val Nichushkin. I think all 4 of these players were drafted, like Josi and Nikas were drafted within, I want to say, like a round of each other, and same with Nichushkin and Dorofeyev. It was pretty close. Now, you respectfully declined my offer, as it would leave you pretty short on defensemen. But Brian, right off the top, what do you think about the value of this trade? Would you have accepted if you were Ryan? And tell him how he's making a mistake.
Yeah, so this is really going to help because you gave me the $20 before we hopped on the pod here. So no, I think it's important first and foremost for Ryan to, which one's his team here?
So I brought up just the draft results to start, just to take a look at where these players were drafted.
Gotcha. Okay.
So here, I'll just go over that a bit, and then I'll get your thoughts, Brian.
Sure.
Roman Josi. So player of interest for Evan is my Roman Josi, who I took in round 4, which is really he's wearing the Preds jersey just to get Yossi now. Yeah, I took him 10th overall. So our first round started in round 4 because we all kept 3 players. So I took Roman Yossi 10th overall, and Evan was hoping to get him. It looks like 17th overall, but he was forced to go with Wyatt Johnston. So I took Yossi there, and then Evan, you could have had Yossi, but you chose to take Martin Nietzsche 5th overall, which I think is a great option. And that's why I'm interested in Martin Nietzsche. So those are the first 2 players. They were both drafted in our first round of our league. Nietzsche was taken before Yossi. And then we had Val Nichushkin taken in round 8, which is really our round 5 at the end here. It looks like I sniped Evan by 5 picks, where he actually ended up with Miro Heiskanen there, which is interesting. But he wanted Nichushkin there. And then Evan later in the draft. So that was around 8 and 9 later in the draft at just right after in round 10. Evan took Pavel Dorofeyev, who I was eyeing there, but it let me go with Sam Bennett instead, which I wasn't too unhappy about. So that's the lay of the land in the draft. I'll show you my team here, Brian.
Yeah.
My defensemen, we have Yossi, Jacob Chikrin, Eric Carlson, and then I didn't actually draft a fourth defenseman, and I picked up the only remaining LA Kings player in this league to get 2 games played. So I'm a little short on D, just these top 3 really.
Yeah.
And I'm heavy all else, and then Evan's team here. Where he has Adam Fox, Luke Hughes, Heiskanen, Gostis Bear. He doesn't have any bench D, so he has 4 D that are playable. And here's his team. So, Brian, what are your thoughts?
So my first thoughts are: you have Edmonton. He's LA, right? He's on LA right now.
Edmondson? Yeah. He'll be a drop after the first 2 games.
So, yeah, he's being dropped Thursday morning, or what? Right? So that I understand. So really, you're really short on D. My initial thoughts looking at that is I would want to hold on to Yossi. You're too short on D right now, and if Edmonton was the last available D, that means that they're very much in short supply. So first thoughts here, I'd hold on to Yossi and keep him because he does have that potential to be a top 5, fantasy defenseman. I know we have our concerns there, but I don't want to part with that. That's my take. That first and foremost, don't even have to look at the rest of the trade. I wouldn't want to part with Yossi.
Yeah. So I'm looking now here, and my initial thoughts are, yes, the only way I'm parting with Roman Yossi is if I get a great defenseman back. And Evan, I'm looking at your defenseman. Luke Hughes, Heiskanen, Ghost, and Adam Fox. Adam Fox was a keeper of yours, but I don't think I would personally rather Roman Yossi than all of these D. I don't really want any of these D as a replacement for Roman Yossi. And yeah, like Val Nichushkin, I would be happy to give up, and I love Martin Nietzsche, and I like Dorofeyev. So what are your thoughts? I don't know if we could work out a Roman Yossi trade, but
that's okay.
What do you think?
I think realistically, what happened there is my brain said to take Marty Nietzsche, but my heart said Roman Yossi. And that was the problem because I've got Yossi in a few other leagues and a few other spots. And so I didn't want to get too heavy on Roman Yossi, just with that lingering thought of, what if he does have some injury problems? He's getting older. What if Nashville doesn't bounce back? So I did want Marty Nietzsche, and I didn't have him in a few spots. Weirdly, looking at my team, I do feel like I have a ton of good wingers, so I could give up a Marty Nietzsche and feel fairly comfortable with it if I was getting a good defenseman back, which is kind of why I floated the idea to you. And I really like Adam Fox, Luke Hughes. The last 2 with Miro and Ghost are good, but I wouldn't say, again, they're locks for great defensemen. So that was my idea going into it, hoping to really lock up another really good defenseman. In terms of a
So
counter
just
offer,
some
go
other
ahead.
thoughts here. We're both, we're both going for the win this year, right? So it's not like either of us are, we want to get picks back and just give up more. Which in keeper leagues, that could be a great solution in getting a trade done. It's like, listen, I have a shot to win it. You don't. Here, take this pick and just give me better value. And if another guy doesn't have the best shot at winning it, he'll load up on draft picks for next season. But that's not the case here. Evan, I am eyeing Luke Hughes. This new extension here. Now, if we take away Pavel Dorofeyev, and maybe we add Luke Hughes here, let's say it's a Martin Necas. Martin Necas for Roman Josi is pretty on par in terms of value. I think you could have taken Roman Josi instead of Martin Necas at the 5 there and been happy with it. So I think they're pretty similar value in my opinion. But that leaves me down a defender. And then Luke Hughes and Val Nichushkin. I mean, I'll go back and look at where we drafted them, but I do think they have similar value as well. Luke Hughes doesn't do anything in periffs here. Hits, blocks, look, you get 0.27 hits per game, 0.85 blocks per game, and only 1.7 shots on goal per game. So all of his points are coming from his points. So what are you thinking about this?
I really love the counter offer. Man, I'm so high on Luke Hughes as well. It's a great offer. Something I'd have to put a pin in. I don't know that I could pull the trigger on it right this second, but I love the offer. Now here's another counter offer. How much do you love Pavel Dorofeyev?
Let me open up his Yahoo note. And, it's just a player outlook. It's not his injury. I like Pavel Dorofeyev. I don't love him. I think he has potential to score 40 goals this year if all goes right, but it's unlikely that all is going to go right. So he was just a guy I was eyeing in the Sam Bennett and Jared McCann range, but I don't love Dorofeyev that much, to be honest.
Well, I was going to say, and again, I'm just floating it out there. I don't know that Val Nichushkin can stay away from the good stuff the entire season. And I also don't know that he's guaranteed, power play 1 as we've been seeing Lehkonen being floating up there. So what do you think about a 1-for-1 Dorofeyev for Nichushkin?
Well, let me take a look back over here and tell you that in round 8, wait, are these the draft results? Where's Nichushkin? Yes. In round 8 at pick 11 here, you see how I took Val Nichushkin instead of Dorofeyev?
It could have. It would. I mean, people make mistakes all the time, Ryan, and now's your chance to rectify that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a mistake. I could get bit in the ass here, where Nichushkin, it goes back to Russia, and after partying one night in maybe he's on the road in Vegas. Who knows? I should look when Colorado's playing Vegas and trade away Nichushkin before Nichushkin goes to Vegas.
There you go. A good strategy. I like your counter offer though of involving Luke Hughes. So I'll have to think about that one. Like I said, I don't know that I'll pull the trigger on it, but I think it's the most interesting out of our trades yet, because you'll be able to hold value as a D-man, and then I'll be able to get a piece of Colorado back, which is what I really want as well. But I think, interesting stuff. I think that we're kind of looking at players in a similar fashion and talking about them. Again, I think really if you can get a discussion with somebody in your league into trades like this, it just opens the door. It can be ongoing as well. Like I don't know about you guys, but I like to kind of poke and prod. It doesn't have to be like a one time, like, oh, we talked about it, and now if we say no, it's over and we're not going to talk about it again. It can be ongoing. I can hit Ryan up in 2 days and be like, are you sure Nichushkin's right for you there where you drafted him? I can just, be a little bug in his ear until it happens. So, but I do like,
you got to buy him a drink, sweeten up a bit, and then revisit the trade. Yeah, there you go.
Listen, if we discuss this over dinner, and you take me out to dinner, I might be inclined to say yes, but we'll see.
But really good stuff, boys. We'll follow up on if something happens on this next week. Some comments real quick as well from Armin. What do you boys think of new Flyers PP1 and Drysdale value? I do like the PP1. Really feeling good about Trevor Zegras in some late rounds. I am not big on Drysdale whatsoever. I feel like he was on PP1 for a good portion of last year, and he did essentially nothing with it. And he just gets no periffs. So, Brian, what do you think about Jamie Drysdale?
Ooh, I would prefer Sanheim up there, to be honest. Drysdale also misses a ton of games, but they keep going back to Drysdale. So I do think that Sanheim will get his look up there. I like to see Zegras up there, Mishkov. That looks good, but I'm not going to take a flyer on Drysdale myself.
Ryan?
Yeah, not taking a flyer on the Flyer Drysdale. We just don't like Philadelphia's power play. It was third last in the league last year, and Drysdale, I think, he has that top power play spot, but that might result in like 8 power play points for him. So I could be wrong. We might see some magic go on between Trevor Zegras and Matvei Michkov, but if it does, I think Drysdale doesn't have a part in it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think with a lot of these guys, like I'm not gonna lie, I'll throw Drysdale on my watch list to start the season and just kind of monitor him because he's getting power play 1. But yeah, I'm certainly not going out and drafting him or picking him up. Armin also followed up with, how do you rank these guys in Cacuffle points? Hronek, Gooley, Drysdale, Falk, Edvinsson, Gudas. For me personally, I know immediately I'm taking Edvinsson number 1 there. I think I go Hronek. I go Edvinsson, Hronek, Gudas with the hits, Gooley. I'm sorry, scratch that. Edvinsson, Hronek, Falk, Gudas, and then Drysdale last. Ryan, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, Armin, it sounds like you're in a slow draft, and these are the next available defensemen. So yeah, we'll try to help you out here, because I don't know when else you would be really looking at just these defensemen: Hronek, Gooley, Drysdale, Falk, Edvinsson, and Gudas. But yeah, I have him as Simon Edvinsson first. I think his blocks are great, and he has potential to get on the top power play unit. And then I have Hronek, who should still get 40 points on power play 2. And then I have Caden Gooley, actually third on this list, without real power play time, but I think his periffs are great. He really upped the hits last year and the blocks last year, and he could still factor into some offense. So yeah, those are my top 3, and then the other 3, Gudas, Drysdale, Falk, in Cacuffle scoring. Maybe Gudas, then Falk, then Drysdale. Brian, what do you think?
Honestly, I think pretty much the same. Edvinsson 1, Hronek 2. He's also got that exposure to Quinn Hughes in Vancouver, which never hurts. And then I would go Gooley as well. I liked what I saw last year. I think there's more of that this year. So that's where I'm there. Those are my top 3. And then the last 3, Falk, Drysdale last for sure. Drysdale in 7th. So no one in 6th, Drysdale 7th. And then I'd probably, it's kind of a toss, but I'd probably go Falk and then Gudas.
Fair enough. Well, we made it past the hour mark, gentlemen. Hope everyone listening enjoyed. We will have more of this tentatively every Wednesday. Trade talks. Submit your trades and trade proposals in the Discord. We will get to it, and then join us live, and feel free to comment, put some trade proposals in the comments as well. Brian, you want to take us home here?
Absolutely. And just to Evan's point, that's all we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value and helped you get just a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to Matt Creamer there for supplying the music for the podcast. As always, we appreciate your time. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.